Alright my friends, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a fresh episode of Hyland Zoo, our Planet Zoo series. My friends, last episode is above right now for you guys to go and check out should you wish. That was a Zoo So Far episode and we really did take a deep dive into the zoo. We were at it for about 35 minutes, but there's a lot to look at now. So yeah, we also discussed plans of what was going to be happening going forward, probably and potentially in the next 9 episodes as we really start to push on with this series. And today we're actually cracking on with one of the plans that we were speaking about in last episode, and I'm also going to be putting together a gift shop that is basically inspired by something someone said in the comment section. So once again, you guys giving me inspiration, absolutely love it. It's almost like you give your you put your little piece in the series, and that's exactly what I like to see. But today we're doing 2 things. It's like a double feature from back in the day, ladies and gents. We're going to be doing a Bongo habitat build first. It's going to be near the Okapi. I think this is a perfect sort of placement for them. It fills this area up nicely, and when we get to the live section of today's episode, you'll see that it ties in all the backstage area, and I can now really start to finish off this sort of segment of the zoo, which is really, really lovely to see. It's probably a little overkill, this exhibit, but they do like heavy foliage. They're quite a shy animal, a bit like the Okapi, which is why I thought this would be a nice place to put them in the zoo, because we can put those please keep quiet signs, and it'd be a nice kind of chilled area to the zoo. They've got plenty of room so that they can go and hide. A big sort of hard shelter, which you will have seen. We copy and pasted the Okapi's one and just edited it a little bit so that it is unique to the Bongo. So yeah, I just think this is a perfect placement for this animal. They're found in a similar area to the Okapi in the rainforests, a very endangered species, and so it was one of the reasons why we wanted to put them in the zoo anyway, because we are going for that conservation feel where we have a lot of animals that are on the brink of extinction and that sort of thing in the zoo. So yeah, that's going to be first, and then in the second part of today's episode, like I've already said, something that was inspired by one of you guys that view the series, and you know, obviously I was asking questions about the brand new African area that we put together. There was a nice green space there, and I said, oh, maybe we could put the warthogs in there, and you know, even though I said it, I wasn't too keen on the idea, and then someone left me a comment and said, why don't you do like an African market type gift shop or something along those lines? And so that is exactly what we've done. Obviously the theming isn't over the top because we're going for a realistic feel, but it really, I think when we get to it and you see it, it really ties in nicely with the Masai Cafe. And when we get to the live section and you see all the planting that's done, because I don't do a lot of that in these speed build parts, I just do a lot of the building, and when we get to the lower section you see we've put in all the planting as well. It looks lovely. It looks so nice in its surroundings and in the environment, and I think actually it was a great suggestion by that person who said it in the comment section. Absolutely love it. Great idea. Thank you very much for that. So yeah, as you can see, we are doing the Bongos Habitat at the moment, ladies and gents. It's very much a bit more of an old school feel, where this habitat's concerned, fenced all the way around, which is the first exhibit I believe we've actually done that. We've not used the fencing in the game. We've used the custom African fence that we've made that was around the majority of the perimeter of the Okapi's habitat, but we do use that, and we do a mixed level habitat here, which is the first that we've done that as well. As you can see, we're putting in the path now, which is going to be ready for the sort of section where it's oh, I can't bloody think of the word, but basically you'll look down into the exhibit, and then there's a bit where you are going to be looking at ground level. So yeah, two ways to look into the exhibit. I didn't want to go over the top because obviously they are a shy animal, and we want to avoid the stress. I wanted to give them a bit more space than they actually needed for that reason as well, but this comes together beautifully, this habitat. It really does. The fencing looks really nice around the outside. The fact that we do you that double leveled viewing of it. We do a lovely sort of rivered area, which they actually spend a lot of time near, which I was quite surprised at. When I first put this all together, and I was, slowly as it comes together, I was like, oh, do you know what, this would be ideal for maybe a big cat, actually, because of the way the level changes and stuff like that. But it actually worked out really, really nicely, because these animals that are in there really like the lush water, all of the foliage and stuff, and spend a lot of time in this area. We do a nice big viewing sort of area as well here. It all ends up being covered up, and you'll see it as the speed build goes along. It really does come together beautifully. The nice thing about this was, because the animal didn't require anything extreme, and the habitat came together quite easy, I was able to do sort of a double feature today, where first we get the habitat build, and then second up we get that gift shop build near the New African area. And the great thing about that is it's allowed me a bit of time as well to start really figuring out where animals are going to start to go around the rest of the zoo. I think I'm finally happy with where I want to put the tapirs now. Someone had said in the comment section there's a nice grassed area to the right of the visitors centre. Maybe you should think about it there. And basically I think I know what I'm going to do where they're concerned. I know where they're going to go now. And then I was looking at the list of animals that I put together for last episode. Was it last episode or the episode before that? I can't quite remember. I put that list of animals together, and I think that where the tropical African animals are concerned, because that we've got two separate sides to Africa really when you think about it. The only other one I think I would want to get into the zoo is the chimpanzee. It would be either the bonobo or the chimp. We were going to do mandrills way back when, but they're not really an endangered species, and they are more of a filler animal as well. So I know not every animal that's going in this zoo is going to be on the endangered species list or be critical and that sort of thing. But obviously it's a conservation heavy zoo, so I am trying to keep with that. And space is going to be at a premium, especially once we start getting the bigger African animals in and the bigger Asian animals in. So the mandrill is still on the list. It could potentially be there eventually one day, I think, but for now I think they are going to just be put on the list of animals that will be left right to the last minute. And I think that the only other sort of tropical African animal that I would like to get in is the chimpanzee. So I'm going to have a little look at some stuff online, some source material, see what sort of habitats zoos have made for chimpanzees, because obviously we are still trying to tie in with that realism and things. So I'm going to have a look at that. It probably won't be anytime soon, the chimpanzee, because a lot like the gorilla enclosure, it's probably going to be a lot of work, especially where the hard shelter and all the climbing apparatus and stuff like that is concerned. So then really it's all of the big sort of African animals, and then the rest of the sort of Asian animals, and obviously we split those into two lots. I'm still working on the tiger enclosure. What I've actually done is I have another Sandbox zoo that I'm using to do blueprints, so I test things before I bring it into this zoo, because you can really ruin your zoos very, very quickly by just trying to throw stuff in and it not working. And because the tiger enclosure, I'm going to be doing what they call a catwalk in zoos. So essentially what that is it joins two pieces of a habitat by way of a walking platform that goes usually 9 times out of 10 over the top of the guests. There's a few really, really good examples out there in the world, and there's one that's absolutely amazing, and I don't want to copy it, but I want to try to recreate the effect they've got, because basically the way it looks is it's like a big tree in the middle, and then all of the twigs and branches come off of it, and it's fake, but it just they've built it around the catwalk, and it's made it look really, really cool. So I'm trying at the moment, I'm doing a few tests on my own to try and figure out the best way to maybe try and do that and it still work as a catwalk for the animals. So watch this space. The tigers are coming. I just want them to be bloody perfect because they're a big, big animal. The orangutan is the other one that I'm working on at the moment. I really, really, really want to get them into the zoo. I think they would be a great, great addition to the Asian area to really pull some people over that way. A big thing at the moment that I've got with the guests is because the gorillas are our, star attraction. that's where everybody goes, and then the rest of the zoo ends up with like barely anyone in it. So I really need to bring in a couple more sort of bigger animals in the next couple of episodes, so that when guests are in the zoo, they do disperse around a bit more, because obviously what you find is, when you get to the sort of stage that we're getting to with this zoo, is that lag becomes a problem. Your frames drop the more activity there is in certain areas, and especially when the guests are in the zoo, I'm finding that it's very difficult to sort of navigate around the gorillas and the flamingos and the pygmy hippos. So it's one of those things. It was always going to happen, and that's why a lot of the reason why when I do the live section, I leave it paused, because it is easier to move around, and it's one of the reasons why I get all the guests at the zoo as well, why we're taking a look, because those guests are the biggest problem for dropping frames. So yeah, we've got that, and then we've got that farm idea, which I teased last time as well. That was another thing that someone left in the comment section, and they said that a lot of zoos nowadays, they do like farm areas where it's like a petting zoo, and a lot of the times you find animals like pigs and goats and sheep and horse, and smaller animals like rabbits and guinea pigs, and so kids can go in and touch the animals, and so it's really, really cool. I know that London Zoos in particular is really, really cool. So we're going to try to recreate something like that in this zoo. Obviously it's going to be quite difficult to do it because we won't have any of those animals, but we do have the dhole sheep, we've got camels, we've got reindeer, so I think we've got enough species. We've even got like the bison. I think they would fit quite nicely in that area as well. So yeah, we've got a few animals that we could work with and do in that area, to do like a little farm, and that would work really, really well. A question someone did ask was that of the sort of North American animals, what we're going to be doing with those, like the wolves and the grizzly and that sort of thing. Now I obviously don't know of every single zoo in the UK. That's where this is going to be based, but there's only a few zoos that I know of that actually have wolves and the bigger bear species. I would be more than happy to try them, fit them in the zoo if we can, but there's animals I have ahead of them. Because what I'm going to be doing is a recreation series, which I'm going to talk more about in detail very, very shortly. And I think that when we do the recreation series, we're going to try to do it animal for animal. Obviously, there's some animals that are not in the game yet, and so where that's concerned, maybe we'll have to change it up ever so slightly. But yeah, I know one of the zoos that I'm looking at recreating at the minute, all those animals are sort of there. So I think it might be better to save them for that, because they don't quite fit in with what we're trying to achieve at the minute. But if the space allows it, and if we can build an area for it, then I would be more than happy to sort of explore it. So that's kind of where we're at with the animals. I don't really know what will come the next few episodes. I guess it will we'll have to see what inspiration I get. A lot of the time I'll release a video and I give it 24 hours and then I'll read all the comments back, and sometimes I'll read a comment like I did going into this episode where I think that's a great idea, and then off the back of that idea I go and create something. So that's why I can never guarantee what animal is going to be next. I like to give you guys 24 hours to really get involved in the comment section, see what your suggestions are, see if you've said of any like improvements that can be made. Like there was one that was saying maybe you should put some skylights in the reptile house because it seems a bit dark. Obviously we can't do that because of the way it's been made, but I've taken on board that actually it is a bit dark and maybe we do need to lighten it up a little bit and stuff. So all the comments help me make the improvements that are needed in the zoo each and every stage that we go to. So yeah, I like to give you guys a chance. So I can't guarantee what's going to be next, but I would imagine it would be either me tying up certain areas, or it'll be the tapir or another African animal, because I think that's kind of the direction I'm at the moment. That's where my inspiration lies at the minute. As much as I want to continue with the Asian area at the minute, I'm absolutely loving sort of all the African build and that sort of thing. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that. Now, I just mentioned the recreation. Now, for, I don't know, a couple of weeks now, I've kind of been teasing a second series on the channel. I'm trying to get to a point where I'm going to have a schedule on this channel along with my other channel. So my other channel, I record bulk because I can, and where my Football Manager series is concerned. And then as far as the Premier League show is concerned, that's once a week, and it just gets recorded sort of like the morning of or the night before. So it's very, very easy for me to now sort of start to work in a schedule for this channel. Now, I'm starting to think about potentially uploading on this channel Wednesdays, Fridays and Sundays. Those are the days that I'm thinking about uploading on the channel going forward in maybe about a month's time. And what I was going to do is that Wednesday and Friday would be for Hyland Zoo, and then Sunday would be for our recreation series. And I think that those episodes would be a lot longer than what I offer you already now with Hyland Zoo. Hyland Zoo's episodes average between 35 and 45 minutes, which I think, as time's gone on, I've realised it's actually quite a nice length for the videos for this series. I actually thought they were too long at the beginning, but a lot of people have said that they really like the length of the videos, so I'm happy to keep it at that. Now, the recreation series, I think that those episodes will potentially be sort of an hour long. The reason for that is the way that I'm planning on doing it. Now, what I want to do going into each episode is at the beginning give you some screenshots of what we're going to do and what part of the zoo we're going to do. And then maybe if I can find them, or even if I can create them myself, is sort of make a blueprint of sort of a bird's eye view, and then we discuss it, and then we go in, we recreate it, and then at the end I just do a quick little chat, give you some screenshots of what we've achieved, and then we go from there. I think that's probably going to be the best way to do it, but it'll only be one day a week, because a recreation series, of course, we're going to be copying. It's going to be a lot more work. It's going to be a lot of trial and error to try and get things right, and a lot more pieces are probably going to get used, so it's going to be very, very heavy on the computer, but it's a series I want to do, and it's a series that, you know, I'm really looking forward to doing. Now, I've had a couple of suggestions from people with regards to zoos and which ones to do, and I've had some really, really unique ones. There was one from Sweden that someone suggested. There was one that wasn't so much a zoo, but it was more like a country park that had animals in it, and it went up and down in the mountains and had all these really fascinating houses. Really, really cool. But I think I want to go more for a proper out-and-out zoo where this is concerned. And one suggestion that I've had that I really, really like is that of Chester Zoo. Now, for those that don't know, Chester Zoo is one of the biggest zoos in the UK, and it regularly is voted the best zoo in the country as well. They have more endangered species in their zoo than any other zoo in the world, I want to say. I do believe that is something that I read, and famously as well in the UK, they have a TV show that Chester Zoo is used on. I think it's The Life of the Zoo, I think it's called. And, they deep dive, you meet the keepers, they talk about the animals. It's a really fascinating show, actually. And so, as a result, I actually think there's a lot of source material for Chester Zoo. Not only can you get photos and pictures online, but because of the TV series, you can download it all and, pause and freeze frame and take a look at the exhibits as well from a very different sort of angle. So Chester Zoo is a really, really interesting suggestion that someone said, and they've said that they've been waiting for ages for someone to potentially, want to recreate Chester Zoo because, they've got a brand new lion exhibit. They've got, a few other brand new things. They've got this massive dome that they're going to be building soon. I think that there's a bit of a delay on it at the minute because of the finances and whatever. It's like £30 million is being invested, into the zoo. And it's just a really fascinating zoo and a really fascinating project to kind of look at. And there's different levels and there's very different sort of when you look at the zoo, it's separated and it's really clean the way it's done. So Chester Zoo at the minute is sort of, I'm 95% sure that that's the zoo that I want to do. So if you're not aware of Chester Zoo, maybe go and take a look online, look at some photos, and then if you like the look of it and you like the look of the animals and stuff that are there, get involved in the comment section and let me know if it's a big thumbs up or a thumbs down. And I'm not, as I say, I'm 95% sure that's the zoo I want to do, but if you want to try and turn my head with another suggestion, feel free to do so by leaving your suggestions in the comment section below as well. So yeah, that's kind of just where I'm at with the channel. That's where I'm at with the stuff that we're doing at the moment. I am obviously, at the minute, very Planet Zoo heavy on the channel, but I am definitely thinking about potentially doing some other stuff as well on the channel at a later date. At the minute, really want to just concentrate on Planet Zoo because that's what I'm enjoying, that's what I'm loving. But you know, as and when I think about doing some other stuff as well, you'll be the first people to know. But my friends, I think I'm going to shut up because I've been chatting away for nearly 20 minutes, you know, in today's speed build, and I'm going to leave you for the last sort of 10 or so minutes, you know, to enjoy the rest of it. We're going to be coming up to that gift shop build very, very shortly as well. So do enjoy the rest of the speed build. I'll see you very shortly for the live section of today's episode. And so here we are, my friends, in the live section of today's episode. And we're going to start with a bit that we finished with in the speed build. So yeah, we'll start with a gift shop. And as you can see, I've done the walls, I've done the planting, I've kind of finished it off. And there's some bits and bobs inside as well that I want to touch upon as well. Can I just say, I really love the idea of putting this gift shop in. I really like the idea of that sort of African market feel, and the suggestion to put it in here was a masterstroke by that person, so you know you are amazing suggestion, and I absolutely love it. And I love the fact that if you look at it from this angle, this is a completely different angle to this building. I just think it sits in the sort of environment really nicely. So let's just come on down to sort of the proper level. Now, what I've done to kind of make use of this space, I've just stuck some elephant grass, like really sunk it into the ground, put some trees in and put some rocks there, and then I've done another planter just around the back of it here, just so it kind of separates that seating area a little to this. So yeah, and then I've done all this planting at the front. I've done these really sort of like unique wall pieces either side. I think they look really cool, really nice. We've done the flooring to keep it the same as over there, and yeah, and then we move in. Now you can come in or out either way, it doesn't really matter where the shop's concerned, and you come inside of them. I've just kind of like detailed all the inside of the shop basically. And yeah, these are all workshop items, all of these, and I'll leave the links to them in the description, because they're fantastic pieces, and they've really added something to the inside of this shop. And yeah, absolutely in love with every single piece. They're created by different people. I think there's 3 different people's stuff in here, but you know, it's that sort of stuff that, you know, I would love to have a go at doing myself, but time is of the essence. And you know, if there's people doing it on the workshop and it looks amazing, then why not use it? So yeah, we've got our 2 gift shops here, and all the inside's done. I think it looks really cool. We've done all the planting on the outside, and yeah, so you can see how this sort of ties in with the African area. What happens is, if you was to walk around this way, we kind of roped all this piece off, just a few more trees just to hide the back of the building, and then when you come around here, we've got the wall either side. That's going to be the way the staff would go into the building. We'll do all that, put a staff only sign there. But if you were at the seating area, you actually can't really see all that much of the gift shop. I think what I think is quite cool though is if you were sitting here, you would get a little glimpse and you'd be like, oh, I might go and have a look in there. So it's that kind of, that element of it entices people in while they're sort of eating their food. I'm going to have a little moan now about the game. I haven't had very many negative things to say about it, but if there's one negative I will find is that the guests don't use these areas. Now, I would like Frontier to take a look at that, so that when they get their food, we have a higher chance of them going over and sitting down to eat their food, rather than walking around the zoo drinking drinks and eating the food and throwing stuff in the bin. Now, I know we want them to look at the animals and stuff like that, but for a realism, you know, purpose, people tend to go and sit down a bit more. And so it'd be nice if they could look at that, so that these sort of areas do get looked at a little bit more. It's a little bit of a moan, because it's, you know, like when I'm watching the zoo kind of play out, no one ever uses those areas, and it's gutting because I spend a lot of time doing it and I think they look really nice. Anyway, let's walk over this way. You go over the bridge and we come back into this little zone, ladies and gents. And as you can see, you see the majority of the build, but I've done all the little finishing touches now to the area. I've got to do a little bit of planting, but that shouldn't take me too long. But yeah, if you were coming into this area from the side of the bridge, the first thing you met with is the viewing area over this side. So yeah, if we was to come over here, I think all of the animals are over near the hard shelter at the moment. But yeah, you can walk in here, and yeah, this is a great way to come and look at the animals basically, especially if they're down by their little, you know, lake section at the front. We put some education in here, some benches, and I think it just really fills this and packs this out nicely. Beautiful little wooden floor, just to tie in with what we did over at the Okapis basically. I wanted the 2 areas to feel like one, so that's why I've done it like that. So yeah, really nice little viewing area here. And then yeah, if we was to go around the other way, ladies and gents, you'll see I've done all this rope fence again, just to fence all this off. And then I've bought one of these one of these seated educational areas over this side. I just think it fits in here nicely, and I'm going to put the keep quiet signs either side because they are a very shy animal. Now, I did make a minor change to the fence. I pushed the initial sort of main habitat fence back a little bit and then put this rope fence at the beginning. Basically, I realized that there's always sort of two fences the majority of the time at zoos, and I hadn't done that. It was right up to the path. That isn't realistic, so just a very small minor change, but for the better. And then you'll see that rope fence continues all the way up there and up to there, so it all ties in basically. So yeah, like I say, just a little bit of planting to do, but it's golden. We just go in. You'll see it's one of our bongos. Beautiful looking animals, aren't they? I really, really like these. And then they've got a backstage area that we're going to take a look at shortly. They don't tend to use it, but for whatever reason, a couple of them are going to go out there now. But yeah, let's zoom out, ladies and gents, and I'll just show you the work I've been doing off camera over here as well. So I've just basically been reworking the backstage area, and there's a bit as well that when we swing 180, and I'll show you, there's another bit that's under construction which I've been working very hard on, but didn't really feel the need to show you because you've already seen me create one before. But yeah, a big rework where the backstage area is concerned. It used to come up here, the road used to go here, and then it basically just went up and wound around. But as we've got this here now, I needed to stick in this little pen at the back in case they ever need to be separated. I put in a little power station here which is really disguised nicely by the trees, and then this is the staff quarters for the Bongos Habitat. I've done it so that it looks different. I wanted this to feel like this was all here initially at the beginning of the zoo, and then this habitat was added at a later date, and so this building had to be built. So yeah, that's what we've done here. It all ties in really nicely. We just stuck this fence here so that the guests can't get through, but there's another fence in front of that anyway. Double fencing, it happens a lot in zoos. And then yeah, we've just done these planters basically. Done all this here, this all ties in, and then I've done this brand new area where we've added all these odds and sods under this nice little lean-to thing that I've built, and this is basically an area where keepers or maintenance and all that can come and get things if they're building new exhibits or having to repair fences and stuff like that. And yeah, we just stuck all that in there, and I think that really sort of adds something new to this backstage area that had been here since the very beginning of this series, which was a long time ago now. Now I am just going to go and turn to the left and introduce you to a brand new part as well. And it's a new car park, ladies and gents. Now, obviously, it's not that exciting because you won't see this because no one's going to use it because it is just for aesthetical sort of purposes. But they're under construction, two brand new car parks. We've got the coach car park here, a secondary car park here. There's even a toilet in the car park now with a little bit where, you can turn around. And what I'm thinking of doing is a little car system for people that are like disabled and that, and it will drive them up to the entrance, basically. It would drive them all the way up to the entrance and drop them off. And be a lovely old job. So yeah, we've stuck in a little car parking sign as well, as there's numerous car parks now. And yeah, I think it's really come together nice. And I even went as far as putting an under construction sign here because yeah, it's not finished yet. And yeah, it's what would happen, isn't it, basically? But yeah, that's just the work that I've sort of been doing off camera. But I really like this car park. I wanted it to look slightly different to the initial one because I wanted it to look as if this was added at a later date. So it is a lot more clean, a lot more square, and we've got plants and a different sort of texture to it. So yeah, really happy with it. But let's zoom on back again over to the African area as we finish off today's live section. We talk about next episode. Now, obviously, we've put in these viewing areas for this restaurant, and I think that it's about time I potentially get one of these animals in. So I think, I'm going to say I think because there's never any guarantees. I think, though, we'll put in another big African animal next time. In next episode. Don't know which one, but I think it's about time we did that. Also, this is where the tapir is going to go, in here. I think I was talking about it in the speed build section. Someone said, why don't you use this grassy area next to the hippos? And I actually think that's a great suggestion. So tapirs are definitely going to be going in that area there. And then here, I'm going to be doing the bug house. Yes, I've got an idea of the bug house and what I want to do. I want to do like a little area on the out so that you, as you're walking around, you can go outside and you can look out into the African area. I've got loads of ideas at the minute. I'm feeling really inspired, and a lot of the reason is because of you guys from last episode and the episode before. You left so many fantastic comments that it's got all my creative juices flowing again. But my friends, we are done for today's episode. I'm going to leave you with a nice little view there of the brand new African area and how it's looking. My friends, if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel, and it's massively appreciated by yours truly. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Hit the bell notification button to never miss an episode, and as I always say, make sure you get commenting on all the things that we've spoken about in today's episode. But until next time, my friends, you make sure you're staying extra, and I'll see you real soon.